Delaware Valley's leading news program, with Keith Russell, meteorologist Cecily Tynan, and Jim Gardner.
The 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic is this Saturday, but the world's fascination with the story remains vivid. Tonight, Action News reporter Alicia Vitarelli takes us inside an exhibit dedicated to the historic event and explores connections to famous local families who were on board a century ago.
It was known as the Millionaire's Express.
The Titanic's maiden voyage was the ticket for the considerably wealthy.
The people who ended up in first class, in particular, represented America's aristocracy.
Dr. J. Joseph Edgett is a professor emeritus at Widener University. He's also the curator for a special exhibit honoring the Titanic anniversary, which runs through May 12th. He's been studying the ship and its local passengers for decades.
The most prominent would be the Widener family, and they made their money in transportation.
To be more specific, they created the concept of a citywide rail system and helped expand the Philadelphia Electric Company to run it. The Wideners also used their immense wealth to provide affordable culture to the public.
The Wideners put so much into founding and to help found the establishments of the Philadelphia Library, the Art Museum, the Academy of Music, Union League of Philadelphia.
George Widener, his wife Eleanor, and their son Harry were in England interviewing chefs for their home and were sailing home on the Titanic. In James Cameron's Academy Award-winning Best Picture Titanic, that lavish party in honor of the ship's captain, Edward Smith, was thrown by the Wideners, who were friends of his. George and Harry both died in the disaster and are memorialized in the family's mausoleum at Laurel Hill Cemetery in Bryn Mawr.
John Thayer was vice president of the Pennsylvania Railroad.
He was set to become president, but never made it off the Titanic alive. William Carter of Bryn Mawr, an heir to a coal and real estate fortune, was traveling with his wife and 2 children. They all survived. In the movie blockbuster The Renault automobile, where Rose and Jack have their romantic tryst, is a replica of the car that Carter bought in Paris and was shipping back to America. Also on board Titanic were Lily Potter and her daughter Olive. 4 years after the disaster, Lily founded the Southeastern Pennsylvania chapter of the Red Cross. Frederick Sutton, who died, transformed Wildwood, New Jersey into a popular family vacation getaway. And film after film, story after story, experts agree that the legacy of the Titanic will go on for at least another 100 years. For Channel 6 Action News, I'm Alicia Vitarelli.
KYW News Time, 7:50. 100 years since Titanic. On this 100th anniversary of the disaster, KYW's Michelle Durham looks back at the Philadelphia stories from Titanic.
In this report, Michelle has the story of 2 local women who were on board during that fateful maiden voyage of Titanic, and their incredible contributions to this area in the years after they survived that disaster.
For Kendall Crolius, the Titanic is not an abstract concept.
Both my grandmother and my great-grandmother were aboard the Titanic.
In a twist of fate, Kendall's great-grandmother, Lily Potter, took Kendall's grandmother, then Olive Earnshaw, on a whirlwind tour of Europe following Olive's divorce. And that same determination surfaced again during the disaster.
My great-grandmother, when they were picked up by the Carpathia, immediately started organizing all the other women to take off their petticoats, making makeshift clothes for the little children. She was running things even before the ships got back to land.
Lily Potter became chapter secretary for Philly's American Red Cross, and her daughter Olive married Alan Crolius, had 2 sons, including Kendall's father, Thomas.
What I'd like people to know about my family is a life of service is a life well lived. I don't know if my grandmother and my great-grandmother were saved for a particular reason, but they clearly lived as though they were.
Michelle Durham, KYW News Radio.